So having just reviewed the interface and getting it correctly set up, a couple of things that we want to point out. If you do this at home on your computer, well, you'll set it up one time, and every time you log in, it will look the same. So if you make your command line large, well, every time you log in, it looks the same. If you set up the visibility on the tools on the status bar one time, every time you log in, it'll look the same. If you change the cursor and the colors, well, at home, every time you log in, it should stay the same. Now, if you're in the CAD lab on campus, different story. It will not remember your settings from day to day. You'll have to reset it every single time. But the comforting thing is our home computer, at least, will keep the settings once we put them in once. Okay, and if we continue in the course pack, you see application menu, quick start menu, the ribbon, the UCS icon, the command window, and the status bar are given some further attention. Starting new drawings, we've talked about that. Saving drawings, important to follow some protocol or to follow some organized ways of saving your work. So AutoCAD files, we know, are DWG files. DWG is short for drawing, and we want to save them in a way that we can easily find them later on. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about something called file management. And this is one of the assignments you'll be working on. File management just refers to the practice of using a system to save and name files. It's extremely important in this class that you save and name your files in an organized way. This will help you later on if you decide to stick with the CAD thing, because you can't work in a group of people where everyone just makes up their own file names and everyone makes up their own file save structure. You have to have organization, and this is probably one of the biggest complaints that our employers have of our students when they leave our program. So they're not very good at file management. So this assignment will take care of that. So there's some lecture material and an assignment that goes along with it. But basically, you're going to create a folder. You're not going to be saving, though, on your H drive. The H drive is on the campus. We've decided we'd like to do something a little bit different. So follow the instructions in Canvas about where you're going to save your work. We're going to be saving in the cloud. So there's some cloud storage options here that you can choose from. They're all free. And we want to set up a folder specifically for this class. And then within that folder, we want to make some subfolders. All right, so take a look at that on file management. It should be clear enough why we do it and how it's to be done. The next section of the course pack is on plotting. And plotting just means printing, right? We know that. Printing can be complicated sometimes. And there's a lot of settings when you go to hit print. There is a page I added to Canvas that you'll have access to once we start printing things, where it kind of simplifies things. So the 7 steps are laid out correctly in the right order. A little preview of the print plot dialog box and the normal settings we have for it. And then what I've added, which is kind of nice, is troubleshooting. So how do I print to a piece of paper on a printer? How do I print a PDF? How do I get it to fix if the plot preview doesn't look like what I want? What if it won't still plot? What are those different plot settings for? And hey, what is a plotter? Why do we hear the word plot? Why don't we just say print, right? So there's some information here that'll be helpful as you are printing out drawings, because sometimes I'll want your files as CAD files, and other times I'm going to want to print out. And these are hyperlinks. These will take you to a page that explains, or to a video that explains how to get a printout of your work.
When you need to.
Okay, so if plotting was a little tricky in the B12 class, or it's been a while since you did it, we have some supplemental information here. Each of these is a question that goes along with the settings in the plot dialog. We got a view here of the different paper sizes typically used in technical drawing. And when you're selecting area to print or centered, well, what are you exactly setting? So this kind of breaks down each of those things you need to set and explains exactly what you're setting and why. So if you want to know how the plot dialog box works, this is what you want to look at. There's that simplified plotting icon. Now, this part of the class will be kind of interesting. I'd like you to find this in your course pack, because The fact is, working with a mouse is great, but it's slow. Especially, let's say I want to start the line command, and the line command's up here, and I'm down here. Going back and forth between the drawing canvas and the ribbon takes a lot of time. It's not a very efficient way to work. So a much more efficient way to work is typing with your left hand while you are mousing with your right hand. And you don't have to do this. This is purely up to you. But it's a good practice to at least start trying to work with, because we can work almost twice as fast, not having to travel back and forth to the ribbon every time we want to start a command. Because what will happen is if I start typing, and before I type, take a look, please, where my cursor is. My cursor's up here on the canvas. If I type, I just type the word line. Notice how the word line appears down on the command line, even though my cursor's up here. I see a lot of people do this. They will take their cursor down to the command line and click in there and start typing. But the fact is, you don't have to. You don't have to. My cursor could be up here in the top right, and as soon as I start typing, whatever I type goes into that command line. Okay, so the keyboard is hardwired into the command line. Hitting enter will continue the command as it asks for its points. And hitting escape will get you out of the command, right? So it'd be much faster to type our commands out, especially if we know how to type. But a lot of these commands are long. So line is 4 letters. That's not too bad. Circle, well, now we're talking 6 letters. That's more typing. Words like polyline and polygon and region, well, these are bigger words. And it is faster to type on the keyboard, especially if we have a way to shorten things. And there is shortcuts built into AutoCAD. The L command, if we type in L and hit enter, well, that starts the line command. And the C, enter, starts the circle command. And the E, enter, starts the erase command. So there are a bunch of alias commands, or that will start commands for you quickly and allow you to get your work done much quicker. So let's take a look on the list here, and let's talk about the ones that you should know. And if you don't, now is a good time to know them, and we can jot these down. So starting with the 3 we just did, line. Line, the shortcut is L. And circle, the shortcut is C. And erase, well, the shortcut is E. Okay, so these are single letter commands, very fast to activate them, quick to work with. M is move, right? Move, 1 letter, we use it all the time. It'd be good to know that. CO is copy. It's actually short for copy object. Okay, but that's what we're doing in the file. We're copying the object. And now we've gone from 1 letter commands to 2 letter commands. RO is rotate. SC is scale. Right, and are these some of the first commands you learned how to use back in the B12 class? These are commands that you have spent maybe hours moving back and forth to the ribbon to click on when you could have saved yourself a ton of time. All right, what other commands should we have some familiarity with? Looking at a couple of more of these single letter shortcuts. F is for fillet. Fillet is a rounded corner, right? And O is for offset. We know what offsets are. 2 lines or 2 circles that are a copy one of the other at a certain distance apart. SC, scale. TR, trim. EX is extend. P is plot. To spend all day, every day working on your CAD assignments. So please take note of all the alias. Taking a look on the pages in the course pack right after that shortcut list. Let's take a look at the application menu and what you should know how to use on the application menu. So be so good as to draw some arrows or some lines or circle some stuff on this printout that shows what you know how to use already, right? So new makes a new file. Open opens files. Save saves the file. Save as will let you save the file either with a new name or in a new location or both. Print sends your job to the printer. closes the software. Exit AutoCAD closes the program completely. We also have a tool here for going to set the units, and this was the options button, and we explored some of the display properties and options that we want to have control over. Under drawing units, of course, AutoCAD starts out as decimal units, rounding to the nearest 10,000th, or 4 places to the right of the 0. For length measurements, these are the two you already know. What I wanted to show you over here was the other settings. See, these are length settings as we measure and identify length. Here, though, we're talking about angles. How is AutoCAD going to measure angles?